Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It's good to see you all again. I'd like to thank you all for joining us for Detroit by Night, episode 29. Almost made it to the big 3-0. Wow. And our first one where we've managed to hit affiliate. So, the stream is making some heavy progress. I see some familiar faces in the chat, so appreciate you dropping by. Tonight is episode 29, Gathering. This is a continuation. The night continues. Mouse and Rashad have been trying to steady themselves, and unfortunately, things have not been looking too good. Events have spiraled out of control. The entire situation of the Camarilla from up north now invading. The Second Inquisition just starting to go dormant, but can you really believe that they're gone? Infighting between the baronies, between Baron Holloway, Baron Mason, and Baron Creed. We end up running into a situation where it's a powder keg, where allegiances can shift at any time. And more specifically, who do you call friend when your ties bring you to one side or the other, and yet that side might want nothing to do with you? Maybe see you as a bit of a screw-up. Maybe you struggle against fate. Do you just roll over? Do you go with the tide, know which way the wind's blowing? Or, like anarchs, stand against the coming tide and demand that it give way? It's a curious situation, one I would love to end up hearing. Right now, we have Mouse and Rashad tonight. Now, I have no particular preference into which starts first, so let's see who takes the initiative.
All right. Tonight, I have several plans that need to be enacted, and I need to get that information for you. After that, I need to figure out what exactly Baron Holloway wants, and perhaps persuade him on lifting and letting all these shipping boats pass. That would help a little bit with my other plan to start branching out and getting in contact with the lower businesses, per se. If we all get on the same page, we all might get through this together.
Well, everybody getting on the same page, how idealistic. The question is how pragmatic is it? Though, I imagine if you're cunning enough, powerful enough, have the right ears listening and willing to tribute to the pot, maybe you could raise the ante and make everybody, pitch in just a bit more. Though that would require incredible amounts of status. That would require quite the influence, quite the capital. You'd almost need your own army. And right now, you are a public servant of sorts, insurance broker for Seraph Securities. And right now you're not doing too well, especially given scandal that has said that Seraph Securities has been skimming by denying those who are less financially viable, shall we say, the insurance that they're owed, especially after the disaster that ended up happening, not only due to the Flan epidemic, but for what you know to be a Second Inquisition obliteration. So many kindred gone in a single night, and it didn't seem until you've managed to help take it to the Second Inquisition themselves before things started to slow down. And as soon as you thought you could catch your breath, the Second Inquisition went to hiding, and the Camarilla arrived. It's going to be quite the workload, Mr. Seraph.
Yes, it will. But it's all part of the business.
Business as usual for Clan Ventrue. That being said, you're not alone in this. Or maybe you are. I guess it depends on where you might end up considering the loyalties of Mouse. Because Mouse, whereas Rashad ends up finding his loyalties towards the corpse, the small one, the Nosferatu Mouse, very much is one of the Tunnel Rats, one of Mason's crew. And the truth of the matter is that Mouse, I can only imagine you're still a little perturbed. And Mr. Seraph, given what you saw in his, well, now he knows, no, he, not really, ghoul that he created in Chunk, the security guard he hired for the front gate. Now, what are you gonna do? Especially given on your own storied past and your bloodline connection to your sire Gutter, a individual of particular notoriety and infamy. You seem to love him almost without question. But the rest of the city looks at him as a blight, something they'd rather forget. And it probably doesn't help that you came up short. Project Juliet, Jamie Stone, is dead when she was supposed to be delivered to the Baron, and you've left that quiet. And just to make things worse, you both are currently housing a dismembered member of the corpse Ventrue, Sakura Yanai, who has already faced off against the Camarilla for less than optimal results.
There's certainly been a lot going on with this particular coterie. I was holding Project Juliet in an effort to try and maybe clean up a little bit of mess that Gutter created. He really should have been the one to clean up that mess, but I more or less volunteered because family. Family is the most important thing. And that's got me... I'm of two minds about whether or not I should really just tell Gutter, clean up your own goddamn mess, or face up to the fact that I fell short to Baron Mason. I'm gonna have to do that eventually, regardless. It's just a matter of whether or not I should tell Gutter before I go. The other matter is that with Rashad having ghouled Mr. Chunk and having less than optimal success at getting that to remain quiet, as in just simply wiping his mind, that guy is going to have scrambled eggs for breakfast every day in the near future, I'm sure, as much as Seraph fumbles with his mind. I've asked for a little bit of insurance in regards to Chunk. Nighty couldn't deal with the fact that Jamie was going to be a problem. And I'm not letting Mr. Seraph fall to that same trap. If he can't pull the trigger, then he should be able to trust me to be able to do so. Should something come up. And that's the only reason I have asked for Chunk's address.
And Mr. Seraph, you've agreed to these terms?
Yes.
Well, after a little bit of a meeting inside of Seraph Security's office, really more of a warehouse at this point, but then again, you have several offices across the city and a few across the country. Given a person of your unfathomable wealth, though it is being taxed heavily now with the creation of a new Elysium. Now, I'd like to leave the scene to you. Let the dice fall in your favor, and I hope that you'll be able to crawl your way out of this one.
So, you were going to call Eakin?
Yes, and I end up calling Eakin back. I also make sure that you have his number as well.
Perfect.
The phone rings. Doesn't take long for Eakin to answer. When he does so in, shall we say, less than pleasant circumstances. Well. What do we have here? Is there another reason that you are bothering me right now?
Yes, actually. Could you give a quick description of the mask the person was wearing?
Description. You pulling my chain? Is that what it is?
Nope.
Woman's mask has some fucked up paint on it. Looks like one side is crying while the other one's giving me an eyebrow raise kind of look. Blonde bitch. Might be a wig, I don't know. Seem to be... Well, let's just say that I ain't got no time to end up here considering the details. To be fair, I only ran into the bitch once, so... But I'm hoping to end up getting a reunion. You hear the rocking of a slide. You have no doubt that at this point, Eakin is armed.
I glance over at Mouse.
Am I listening into this call?
Mr. Seraph, I believe you put it on voice specifically for that purpose, did you not?
That would be correct.
I don't know if Eakin knows that I'm present, but does that description match the person that I assume that this is?
Sounds close.
Close enough to be positive?
Yes.
Then I just give Mr. Seraph a nod. And since Eakin doesn't know that I'm present, I'm just going to write the name Samantha Camarilla Winnipeg.
Okay.
You there? Gone quiet.
Yes. Seems like the person that pretty much fits that description is a person named Samantha. She is part of the Winterpegs Camarilla.
Winterpeg. Shoulda known. Alright. So here's the question. How do you know her? You dating?
No. I have
Trying to
my
get some of
people.
that frosty puss? That's what you're looking for, Mr. Seraph? Is that how this operates now? Thought sleeping with
No.
the enemy was no-go on your particular side of the woods.
Yeah,
But it is frosty up there.
wouldn't know that much. But I do have my informants.
Sure you do. Well, if that's the case, is there anything else I need to know?
Nope. But I believe that would cover my end of our little deal.
Roll me a charisma plus persuasion -1 since you're doing this over the phone.
Okay.
Alright. Alright. So, if that's the case, I'm sure you're all about formalities and what have you. I believe that ends up making us even as far as trading information. Consider us squared. Mr. Seraph, pleasure doing business with you.
Yes. Now, what was that information you were going to tell me on Baron Holloway?
Holloway. Well, first thing you need to know is that he's an old son of a bitch. Back in the... He came about, I was told, in the 1930s, 1940s. Really came into his own. You see, he had a bit of a chip on his shoulder, very much, I guess nowadays we'd call him activist, but he tries to take that on a whole new level. Very little tolerance for bullshit, you see. And as far as he is concerned, this is, well, let's just say that if you're trying to end up getting in his good graces, well, Mr. Seraph, you're probably of the right demeanor, shall we say, to end up getting in his good graces. But mostly on the basis of you more than likely to end up here being able to relate with him. On the other hand, he might end up making some slurs towards you because, you know, you're a venturer after all.
Not unexpected.
Yeah. He don't much like that. You see, he's old enough to end up having some loose connection to history. And his history is not forgotten. If you're looking to get a hold of him, you can hear that he is flipping through what sounds like a notebook, maybe? Yeah. You can find him on Pier 12. There's an old building up there. Used to be a canned goods factory for fishing and what have you. Shut down. 1940s. Decommission, left to rot. But still might have the appropriate occupancy if the right incentive is given. Depends on what you're offering. Busy
All right.
man doesn't like to have his time wasted. That being said, I gotta get back to the boys because we got some hunting to do.
All right. Thank you for the information and happy hunting.
Watch your ass, Mr. Seraph. Watch your ass.
I always do. Well, that went swimmingly.
Quite.
Also, thank you for helping me out with discerning who that person is.
It kind of helps that they all introduce themselves to me, so anyone who wants those names.
Okay, so Baron Holloway is on Dock 12.
Are you planning on meeting up with him tonight?
You kind of see me flip through a couple papers looking to see what I have to do. How much time before sunlight comes up?
Oh, nowhere near enough time. I mean, even if you had somebody to arrange introductions, right? This is much like when you first started working with Creed. They call you, not the other way around. The fact that your coterie is very well tuned for Baron Creed makes it a little bit easier. But if you were to, for instance, request a meeting with Mason, you'd probably have to go through Mouse. It's not like he's on call, but each barony operates differently.
No, we wouldn't have enough time tonight to do that. Plus, I would have to set up a meeting with him. But it is a start. We know where he is.
That is true.
With the time it is, would I have enough to go out and feed before it gets
You can try, most
sun up?
certainly. Try.
Before the sun comes up, I need to feed. I'm starting to hit that line.
You tend to ride that line a lot.
Need to start squeezing in that time.
Yeah. The important things in life you need to make time for.
Exactly. And I end up getting up out of my desk, and I start to go change. Because while I'm feeding, I'm going to do a little bit extra.
Okay. Would I be assuming that you're heading back to the Fitzgerald neighborhood?
That would be correct.
Okay.
I'll go with to assist.
Well, I'm so glad to end up hearing that. It warms a dead heart to end up knowing a coterie is working together for each other's mutual benefit. So, that being said, Mr. Seraph changes, and Mouse, you accompany him. Now, Mr. Seraph, what exactly are you sporting? Because I imagine the collar and tie and pinstripe suit isn't going to cut it in a neighborhood like Fitzgerald. So, what are you bringing to the table?
What I'm going to be wearing for this occasion is a dark gray hoodie, very baggy, black kind of faded jeans and regular Adidas tennis shoes. Almost like a jogger's outfit.
Very well then. So, Mr. Seraph, you and Mouse are both currently in Fitzgerald. You say you're hunting. I need you to roll me. Well, how are you hunting in Fitzgerald?
I'm gonna do the same way I did last time.
Okay.
Try to find someone that's by themselves and try to accidentally bump into them
Okay.
and start a conversation.
If that is the case, are you willing to end up going outside your norm? Because it is going to cost you.
I would be willing.
Okay, that reduces the difficulty. So, since I believe you're at 2, that drops it down to a 5.
Yes.
So, difficulty 5.
Okay, what would I roll for that?
That would either be a manipulation subterfuge or a dex subterfuge. Either way, it is a subterfuge.
Okay, I'll go with manipulation.
Alright. Looking for 5. Ooh, that's 3, but okay, there's no ones in the hunger dice, so you can choose to spend a willpower to reroll 2 dice to give you a chance to end up with getting, I believe it's a 1/4 chance to be able to end up getting 5, or you could succeed at a cost.
Did you also roll the +1 for the assist?
Oh no, he did not.
I didn't.
No, his mouse is scouting for you.
I forgot about.
Can you roll me a d10, please? Okay, so if you want, you can spend a willpower, and you would be able to re-roll 2 dice, and so long as one of them hits a success, you can feed tonight. If not, then it is a failure attempt, or you can end up choosing to succeed at a cost.
What would the cost be?
The cost will be an unexpected visitor.
Nah, I'll just take the willpower.
Alright. So you can re-roll up to 2 dice. You could re-roll all 3, but I'm pretty sure you want to keep the success.
Yeah. Oh.
Mr. Seraph, there are so many close ones, but you're not willing to breach the masquerade for this. You trace behind one, but they immediately duck into an apartment building, or they regroup with somebody they know, or they start hanging out in front of the all-night shops that are filled with people. It's just getting frustrating at this point. And you take a look at your watch, and it is 4:30 a.m. You might be able to do one more attempt, but to do so risks exposure to sunlight unless you have a place to stay in Fitzgerald.
I do not. I need to feed, so I'm willing to risk that.
Alright. Then are you still going about the same way?
Yeah, I'll try that one more time.
Alright. 5 successes. And you've spent 2 will. You can still spend 2 willpower in order to be able to combine. Because remember, this is going outside your norm.
Yes.
Okay. Remember, even if all of them are slashed, you can burn it by making them aggravated.
Okay.
So. You managed to find one particular individual. They're not wearing a red armband. They seem to struggle. Just for a bit. As just another faceless victim. Really. Ooh. Oh, wow. However, the taste is something out of this world. There's something in the blood, maybe a little bit of spice to it that you didn't account for. It's phenomenal. And it's very odd to end up taking in and tasting this kind of clot. Is sanguine. I need to roll a, let's see, tense, potentially acute, roll below. So we're going to reroll one of these. Oh my god.
Ooh.
Okay, so you have a sanguine. There is something intimate about this. There is something very odd. You can smell the aroma. You have a sanguine resonance, and you have the ability called Smell Game. You can add 3 dice to all rolls to detect other sanguine vessels.
Oh.
So if you're trying to smell it out, if you're trying to get a sense of what a person's blood is, if they're at that state, you can certainly use it.
Okay.
Sometimes it's nice to go out and do a bit of hunting. But still, it is almost 5:30 and the sky is a uncomfortable shade of really dark blue.
I remember that we have the runoff living at a coterie haven that we had set up. So we do have something here in Fitzgerald.
Are you going to tell Rashad where that is?
Yes, because it's coterie business.
I'll leave it to you.
Yeah, it's getting really late. I know Nightmare and I set up a place a little while ago for the runoff to kind of squat at, so we could probably squat there too. It's getting kind of late to get back downtown.
Yeah, I don't think I'd be able to make it since it's this close. Something is better than nothing.
So we can go there, or we can go searching for something else. That's your options.
It'd be a tough drive. You can make it, but you'd be pushing it if you wanted to end up making it. Or you can take guarantee, but you'd have roommates sleeping with you.
I would want to meet the runoff, but I don't think I would want to do it in this situation.
Why not? We own
Actually-
beasts.
Actually, never mind. Let's go for it.
Okay,
All right.
so I lead him to the coterie house
It's not
where
much
the
to
runoff are
look
currently
at.
saying. Yep.
It's not much to look at, really. But when you arrive, Mouse, you can already tell that this place is being lived in. Not to say that it's all that hard to break in, but as you do so, you start to make your way down to the basement. You can smell something. Yeah, you know that smell. Somebody has been using down here. It's not hard for you to find out who. And it's at that point you end up seeing three figures. The larger man, his hair disheveled, his clothes torn, ends up holding a knife as he has seen you come down the stairs. Takes a minute. You know this one is Duke. Two
It's
behind.
just us.
Well, ain't that just a pretty picture? Who the fuck's that?
This is Rashad. It's one of my coterie mates.
Shad.
Nice to meet you.
Nice shoes.
Thanks.
Shad. This is
You might
Ajax
be.
and Crank. Name's Duke.
Well, nice to meet all of you.
Yeah. Nice to meet you too, Rashad. And you see the girl speak, and you can. It's very clear that she's shaking a bit. It doesn't take. It doesn't take genius to be able to end up seeing that she's squatting near what seems to be a heavily burnt spoon. Maybe she's hiding the needles.
Does she look like she's withdrawing? Or that she just used?
Roll me a wits plus medicine.
Medicine.
You're not sure, to be fair. She might be withdrawing. She might have used just for out of habit. Not that it would make any difference. Not that she would be able to get the fix from it. But there's definitely signs of use down here. Ajax, the older man with the bushy beard that's heavily graying, kind of returns to his corner as you start to head down the stairs, locking up the cellar door. Duke doesn't say anything, and every time Crank or Ajax looks like they're about to say something, he shoots them a look, and they just stay quiet.
It's getting a little too close to daylight. We ran a little late, so we're gonna take over a room.
Oh yeah, well, plenty of room. When he kind of gestures, and this isn't exactly a roomed basement. Guess you're bunking with us tonight, Mouse.
Yep. How you guys been faring down here?
Well, fine. He kind of looks to Ajax and Crank, who kind of lower their heads. We're doing just dandy.
I just kind of give Ajax and Crank a look. Just looking at them, not really looking imposing or anything, just looking at
They
them.
won't look at you. In fact, it seems like they're doing everything they can not to look at you.
Me.
Okay. You guys been keeping busy, informed? You know what the terms we asked for you guys staying here.
When we have something, we'll let you know. We have
Rent's gonna come due in a minute.
Yeah, I'm sure you're looking to collect. When we have something, we'll let you know.
Okay.
Okay?
Got my number, right?
Yeah, I got it. Yeah. I got it in my BlackBerry.
Is he being sassy with me?
Oh, very much so.
But lying to me? Does he have a phone?
You get the impression this man, probably doesn't have 2 nickels to rub.
Mm. Well, that's why I stop by every now and again, so.
Yeah, funny. Rashad, would you be able to roll me wits plus empathy? Or wits plus empathy, wits plus investigation, or wits plus awareness?
Empathy?
Yeah.
Probably insight.
Insight can work. Yep.
Okay.
Sorry, jumping between 2 games way too frequently.
One.
Ooh, yeah, not much. So if nothing else, the night will pass. So, with that, Mr. Seraph, your humanity is 6 or 7 right now.
It would be 7.
Okay. So, Mr. Seraph, well, let me break it in first. Sleep takes you all. The day rest. As the day passes, I'm going to ask for everybody to do a rouse check right now. Rashad, once the beast decides to remain sated, not so much for Mouse, though. The day goes. As after all, everybody's got to get to work, everybody's got to find that something that makes life worth living. Sometimes it's coming home to a spouse, or a boyfriend, girlfriend, significant other. Sometimes it's about that night project you got going on. Maybe it's that second job that takes you out into the late night. Maybe it's getting together with family and friends over a barbecue. Unfortunately, for a lot of these corpses, that existence is come and gone. Instead, it's waking up in an abandoned house in a cellar full of corpses. Mr. Seraph, you're one of the first to wake. You stir, and you can see that these 3 corpses are laying about. You see Ajax, who seems to be already up and seems to be adjusting some kind of blanket over the one that was introduced as Crank, and has this sorrowful look on his face. And then to his surprise, he sees you stirring.
Good evening.
Yeah, good evening. Um, don't mind me. I'm just looks to Crank and kind of brushes a piece of decayed hair out of the side of her face. See that her makeup's run and her face is becoming a little bit more gaunt than the last time you came down.
If you wouldn't mind me asking, what is your guys' story?
Not much to tell, really. I, been at this for about 2 years now. Crank, she's young. She's only been at this for a few months, or a few near weeks now. Months. Oh no, it's all blurring together. She's not good. She's not well. Duke, he's been at this a lot longer than either of us, and he kind of looks after us, and to an extent, just kind of stay forgot, you know? That's just kind of how it is. No ripples in the water, nobody comes looking.
And your stay here with Duke and Never, is it all right?
It's as good as it can be. He looks back down to Crank.
I would have noticed them, like, would I have noticed when we came down the first time them avoiding our gaze?
Yes, easily.
Why would you? I noticed you two avoiding our gazes when we first came down.
I don't know what you're
I'm
talking
also-
about. You notice his eyes keep focused on Crank and Duke more than anything.
Come on, even a child would have noticed that.
Don't care. Where they ain't got nothing to do with me. They ain't got nothing to do.
Nothing to do with you and who. If something is wrong, you should probably tell someone about it.
Yeah, that's just gonna invite more trouble. Don't need no more trouble.
Or it could invite more aid.
Roll me a manipulation or charisma persuasion.
Okay. Gonna go with charisma.
Oh,
So, what exactly is your end game here, Rashad? What are you trying to do?
Trying to, obviously, they're scared of something, and I'm wanting to figure out what that is. I have a slight guess, but
Okay. So, you attempt to appeal to better angels, but it's clear Ajax is not saying anything. And almost before you know it, you just kind of get on him. Get right in his face as you kind of just grab hold of this jacket he's wearing. It's falling to pieces, almost like it's coming to dry rot as you kind of pin him against the wall. And you kind of look at him. It takes you a second to be able to get before you realize that your fangs are out. And he's like, well, okay. Just don't touch her. Don't touch her. We'll be alright. Right now, we don't want any part of this. We don't. We just want to end up. Is hiding out our days and not be involved in any of this, okay? It's got nothing to do with Crank. You just leave her out of this and we'll be fine, okay?
any of this, what is this?
This! He kind of gestures to your
Kindred
hand.
society?
Whatever the fuck you called it.
Let me tell you something. You are a kindred like us, and you cannot run from that.
No, you all made that very fucking clear. We are nothing alike in that regard. Nothing alike. Okay? You know who made you?
I do.
Yeah, none of us do. We don't know what tribe we belong to, how this shit works. We don't get to end up going out and get new Jordans when we need them. We spend most of our time feeding on people who are as rough as us. And that's if we're lucky, if we're not chased the fuck out.
Then you need someone to properly teach you those things.
Oh yeah, because that worked out so fucking well the first time.
Who did it the first time?
He kind of looks down. Slight bit of defeat in his eyes. His name's Ambrose.
What was that?
Ambrose. His name was Ambrose, okay?
Julian Ambrose?
I don't know what the fuck. He just kept calling himself Ambrose. Pale fucker, purple tie, bad haircut, redhead. Came in a fancy fucking suit.
And he just left you all like this?
No. We went to Duke for protection. Didn't know what we were getting into. Didn't know what we were getting into at all. Now it's went from one slave driver to another. Except Duke doesn't care one way or the other. But if we run, he'll find us. And there ain't nobody gonna come to help us. That's why we stick to our own. Because of kindred like you. Who keep saying, oh, don't worry, we're just looking out for you. It's all bullshit. Every last minute of it.
To most. Not the few.
It is all fucking bullshit, okay? This Black Tower thing, okay? This anarchy thing, okay? Kindred, fucking vampires, fucking leeches, Lex. It's all bullshit. You turn on each other the second you end up wanting to get ahead. And the only reason you give us a fucking ounce is because we might be able to pay the rent. Hell, even the fucking small one gets it.
That is how other people work, not me.
Bullshit. Bullshit. I heard that song and dance before. It's at this point you can see Crank starting to turn. Starting to roll over, starting to come to. Now, sir, you best let go of me. If Crank thinks something up, I'm in hell of hot water. I'm not putting up with this bullshit. I don't care what the fuck the deal was between Mouse and Duke. Okay? I'm not involved in this shit. I don't want to be involved in this shit.
I let him go. All right. But if you are leery of my intentions, you can ask Mouse yourself. I have not asked that much of him, and I have mostly given aid to.
Yeah.
I am here to help.
You can see Crank kind of turn over. It's okay. It's okay, Crank. I'm here. I'm here. Ajax rushes over to her. He just kind of stares at you as Crank seems to be almost thrashing, trying to end up making up her mind where to end up, where she is. She seems confused at first before she settles down. Mouse, it's about this time you and Duke both stir.
I'll be basically leaning up against the wall.
I'm just kind of stretching.
Yeah. It's at this point.
All right.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just stretching and saying, all right, just getting up.
Duke at this point, he also gets up. And he starts reaching for the bags that were piled up in the corner, the ones that you've seen Ajax, Duke, and Crank carry before. Basically what little worldly possessions they have. And he just kind of hucks these duffel bags at Ajax and Crank. Alright, we need to get moving.
Yeah, we need to get moving too. Is there anything you guys need?
Not from you. Duke starts to walk up. Crank, a little bit shaken, follows him. Ajax takes up the rear as they start to walk upstairs. It's only Ajax that looks back. Seems to be looking at you and Rashad, though. It's just a quick glance before he starts to walk up. And they start to head out of this little bit of public domain you got going on here.
Did you sleep okay?
Peachy.
Good. What?
That Duke person. I don't like him very much.
Yeah, he's a piece of shit. So what?
Should probably do something about that later.
What do you mean?
Slave drivers don't live long.
I'm not
And
sure what
that's
I
what
know
you
what
got.
you're getting at. I follow him.
I'll head outside.
By the time you both head outside, now you can smell there's still morning dew on a lot of, or there's still a sense of dry grass, I should say. Looks like it's just dried up after a slight bit of rain. Maybe the air seems a little cooler than usual. You look up at the starry night. Well, lack thereof, I should say, given the amount of air pollution and just flat out pollution that there is in Detroit. Nothing new for you, though. As you find yourselves walking out, starting to walk down the street, I'm assuming heading towards to Mr. Seraph's vehicle.
Actually, just walking a bit of ways. Before I leave Fitzgerald, I want to see if there's been any recent updates.
Towards what, specifically?
What has been going on the couple nights with the red armbands?
Well, roll me a... Because you've already been setting a few contacts, roll me a charisma plus investigation plus line.
Okay.
And Mouse is with you, so I'll offer you +1.
And our line is 3. So
Oh, I missed one then.
Okay.
There's an extra one.
Nice, 4 successes. As far as on a public level, the red armbands seem to have started here doing a lot more moving. Apparently now they're more focused on taking what money there was coming in and starting to put it into a form of public housing. Still privatized though, but many individuals putting it all together to buy makeshift buildings that have several housing units in it. You end up noting a few individuals have been spotted starting to end up going from where Pride makes his own little gathering spot. As far as more on the kindred side of things, at this point, Pride himself has not seemed to continue doing much hostilities, though there is an odd bit where he apparently has procured himself a new weapon. A sword, specifically.
Interesting. Would it be... I think it would be safe to assume that that would be Mission High.
Yeah, probably would be a safe bet.
Alright. I'm going to start instilling a thought within one of the red armbands. That Pride is starting to withhold stuff from the people. He's starting to hoard resources. Starting to become more of a tyrant.
You can try and start that rumor. That's going to be a little trickier, though, and that's more of a long-term thing. So let's do... You can either use this as your dominate power, but this is going to require blood, a rouse check. Or you can try and do this as a manipulation subterfuge -2, because you're ultimately trying to do this more as a rumor.
Manipulation plus subterfuge, I think.
Okay, -2. Mouse, I'm assuming you're not helping with this one, as that would require you coming out into sight.
Yep, I'm staying invisible.
Okay.
Well, not invisible, but out of sight.
Ooh, nice. Okay, I'll make a note on that one. 4 successes. Very nice. Alright. Mr. Seraph?
Okay. That is all I can theoretically do in here for. Might come back later and recruit more people, but that will be later.
Okay.
Right now, I need to start looking into. Let me see, what was her name? Said the name 3 times and still forgotten. Her name would be Allison.
Say again?
Gonna try to start looking for the person named Allison Cray that
Allison
went
Crane.
missing, so to say.
Now, why are you looking into this Allison Crane? Can you give everybody a little bit of background as to why this name has come up at all?
Allison Crane is a close friend to one of my informants, and I did say I would help try to look.
Okay, so how would you go about doing this?
More so, a little bit before I get out of Fitzgerald, I would slyly go around asking about a person named Allison Crane. Start getting that ball rolling to see what might happen or what happens.
Well, last time, I'm not going to make you roll for this, given how well connected you're starting to make yourself. You do know Allison, Miss Crane, ended up spending quite a bit of time, mostly in just trying to rediscover faith. The biggest reason for this was on the fact of how fractured the community has been getting. The red armbands may have brought a bit of solidarity to a certain degree, but it's little more than another gang. Really. That wasn't where she believed, so she took refuge in some old churches. Though, you know, the Fitzgerald, its current churches have no real occupancy. It'd be a shame. Not much to go on that regard. You do know that she was... Rumor has it that on occasion she would come back with bruises or lacerations. She seemed kind enough, happy enough, but she was definitely harmed. Some even say that one of her molars got knocked out, but when you inquire, you're not getting a whole lot of detail.
She was looking for faith.
Seems to be the case.
Okay. Violet might be able to help with that. But, actually, Mouse, would you know any churches or faiths that will be around Fitzgerald?
That would be an intelligent streetwise, Mouse.
All right. I will do that.
there a 1 in there? They're both 1s. So you can choose. I can't do succeed at a cost here, but you can choose to reroll up to 3 dice.
I'll reroll 3. Why not?
Okay, that's a willpower. That's a willpower.
Yep.
Oh, that also reminds me. Do remember that you healed resolve or composure amount of willpower for waking up.
Yes.
Okay, 3 successes. Mouse, there are a few. Actually, let me double check my notes here. Okay. Sorry about that. You would end up knowing that there is a hidden church not too far off. The church itself is that of St. Christine's.
Okay.
Probably not more than half an hour away, though it hasn't been used in almost 4 years. And it's taken heavy amounts of damage, especially with looting and what have you.
No recent activity there either?
You don't know. You just know of the location.
Okay. Well, that's the nearest one. St. Christine's.
I think I'd like to take a look around there.
Oh?
Yeah.
To find this person?
It's something. I could probably do further research if I was back at my office, but we're here right now, so.
Okay. Because if the church has been abandoned and kind of is disheveled right now, the best thing that you'd probably find there is like squatters. They're if it's been abandoned as long as it has, then paperwork's all gone. Anything of value is probably gone. Copper wiring for the electricity is probably gutted. Much like all the houses around here, pretty much. But we can go look if you want. I'm not in any rush to really do anything right now.
I kind of look at my watch.
It's about 10:15. It'll only be 20 minutes, maybe 30 if you rushed it. If you got by car, probably 5 minutes. But then again, what's 5 minutes compared to all eternity?
True, but I do have a talk I need to do later tonight.
Most certainly.
I have time to do that, so let's go ahead.
Okay.
Lead the way.
You travel. The headlights of the car casting long shadows from the buildings. Stark contrast to black and white, as it takes a while before you get to St. Christina's. There is a moment before you settle the car down. Would you both be able to give me a perception or wits plus awareness, please? Nothing looks out of the ordinary. The church is most certainly dilapidated. As you end up driving towards it, you see that the lot of the windows have been boarded up. The door itself has been removed and replaced with plywood. Has been spray painted over with several different tags. You see that the thorns growing in amongst the steel gate. They claw up the entirety of the steel rods that poke out towards the night sky. And all that beautiful mosaic that was once stained glass has been clearly shattered. The roof is caved in and a portion of it. But outside of that, nothing of particular note from the outside. Inside, well, you'd have to go see for yourself.
Gonna start looking for a way in.
So you're getting out of the car?
Yes.
I'm zipping that hoodie all the way up so that I have the Spider-Man mesh in front of my face.
Fair enough. It's a little weird when you do so. You have to take the ball cap off first before you put the ball cap back on. But,
I think I want to leave the cap in the car.
okay. So, Mr. Seraph, you start looking around, and Mouse, you zip yourself up following Mr. Seraph. You make your way through the gates. Surprisingly, when you open the gates to get onto the property, there's no real squeaking, no real sense of anything, really. It's smooth as butter, despite the fact that the metal is clearly rusted.
I want to check for signs and if it's been oiled recently.
You don't even need to roll for it. You can definitely tell somebody has been caring for the joints here.
That's quite odd.
Somebody doesn't want this making noise when they open it.
We should proceed with caution.
Yup. I want to make a perimeter, kind of a wide perimeter,
Okay.
and just keep my eyes out, looking stealthily, trying to be as not obvious as possible, but keeping my eyes open.
So you're looking around the perimeter, or are you trying to poke between your eyes between the boards, or what have you?
I'm giving the building a wide berth at first, just to see if there's anything I notice, and then kind of circle inward.
Well, the first thing you notice, I'm going to need is going to be a dexterity plus athletics.
Okay. Or stealth?
No, this wouldn't be a stealth thing.
Okay.
Long story short, you remember how I described the gate? Yeah. So you take 1 point of superficial damage as you realize that as you're trying to take a wide berth, your feet get tangled up in what appears to be these vines that gripped and cut into your pant legs like as if they're barbed wire.
Shitballs.
Yeah. And it only gets thicker as you get to the back.
Okay, well, I'm going to be avoiding the thorns as much as I can.
It gets really difficult, but you can eventually make it through. Though not without probably a few more holes in your pants than you care to admit.
I'm going to need new pants. but
Now, as far as your perimeter, I'm going to need another wits plus awareness.
all right. Oh, come on.
Goddamn pants, right?
Goddamn pants.
Yeah. You spending
No.
willpower or?
I'm running low on willpower. I need to
Okay.
chill out for that.
All right. Now, this feels like a colossal waste of time. Maybe you should just go out and grab something to eat.
Mm,
The beast definitely agrees with it.
mm.
All right. By the time you come around, you don't see much of anything. It's pretty tightly boarded up. But, Mr. Seraph, as you are approaching the front, you look around and I need you to do the same. You make me a wits plus awareness.
Okay.
The first thing you notice is that despite the fact that there's clearly debris and weeds and every overgrowth and all this, the place has fallen heavy into disrepair. The first thing you really notice when you put your mind to it is realizing that the board that covers up the boards that cover up the front door, there's nothing in the way of it. Everything else has weeds growing out from between it, but here you can actually see some of the weeds that started to grow through between the boards in the front porch have been sliced almost completely flat with the floor.
Someone's definitely been here. Does the board look like it's easily movable or without it like falling inwards?
It looks like it's been nailed in pretty good.
Hmm. I'm going to. Is there anything laying around that would remove the nails from the board?
Mm, nothing that would strike you as obvious. I mean, you do have the car jack in the back of your car, but
Trying to think. Because if someone does visit here recently, went through all this trouble to oil the gate and make sure the grass and the weeds are not in the way of this, there has to be a different way they're getting in here without re-nailing the board every single time.
mm-hmm. Roll me a wits plus investigation.
Okay.
Would you like to succeed at a cost?
What would the cost be?
The cost itself would be 1 point of aggravated willpower.
Okay.
Alright. You look at this and you go, okay. You look to the sides, you see the brambles and the thorns. You look to the other side, you see brambles and thorns. Okay, they're not going around. You see the sheared portion. Okay, they're not going through there. You look up. there's a hole in the ceiling, maybe. But you kind of place your hand along the board, and you see the nails. They've clearly been hammered in pretty deep. And yet, as soon as you put your hand on it, you start to pull at the board like it doesn't have any give, and that piece of the wool that it's nailed into just kind of pulls out, completely quiet. You notice as soon as you end up cracking it even a bit, there's a little bit of light inside.
Is Mouse with me yet?
Mouse would probably be just arriving at this point.
He's very tempted to wander off and find a snack.
Okay. I'm going to silently motion over to Mouse.
And
And
I come toward him.
And I kind of motion for you to take a peek.
Are you buying me a snack later?
I nod.
I give it a peek.
Alright, when you take a look, you kind of crack the door a bit more. It doesn't make a sound. It's smooth as butter. And when you do so, you look in, and what you see is the interior of this place looks like it's gone to hell. You can see the water has already caused damage to the mortar. You can see bricks with absolutely no concrete between them, some of them even fallen out, and large puddles on the floor. And yet, when you look at those puddles, you see the reflection. You see the reflection of what appears to be the figure of a woman. It's carved. It's in the pose of a saint, almost like the Virgin Mary, but it is not dressed like the Virgin Mary. It's dressed quite a bit more provocatively, in fact. Candles all around illuminate it. And just the silent dripping of water condensation from the ceiling, leaving tiny ripples in the pools below.
I kind of do. I think about it a little bit. Have I seen this kind of iconography before?
Where do you think you've seen it?
I don't know. If it's in a pose of a saint, I want to kind of see if there's something that I remember from church.
Knowledge occult.
Intelligence occult?
Yeah, intelligence occult. I don't know why I said knowledge.
Straight intelligence check. And that's at -2 because I am hungry.
Yep, it has nothing to do with feeding. No, you have no idea. The only thing you're seeing is another human lit up, and first thing you want to do is bite into it. It seems to be carved from a piece of oak, so you probably wouldn't draw much blood from that.
I just kind of look over at Rashad and tell him, I see a statue and candles. Lit candles. Somebody's here.
Okay.
What are we doing here, Rashad?
Looking for Miss Crane.
You expect to find her here right now?
No, but since this place has been maintained, someone's obviously here.
Okay, then what else are you expecting to find here?
I'm gonna go inside and see if anyone's in.
You expect me to find a fucking snack in there? Please?
Fine. We'll go get you something to eat first. And I gently slide the wall back into place.
Mouse,
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna need you to roll me a feeding check. Now, are you willing to go human, or are you sticking to your usual diet?
I'm sticking to my usual diet.
Okay, difficulty 6.
Alright.
I'll help him.
+1.
+1. Go.
You can try. No, you wouldn't be able to. Is there a 1 there? No. You can succeed at a cost.
Okay.
This is going to be aggravated willpower, though.
Oh, big old butts. Alright. We'll go with that.
Alright. So we'll end up giving you 2 points.
I only needed the 1.
Yeah.
And the resonance I had is gone.
Yep.
Alright. Cool beans.
Mr. Sheriff, this is undignified. You are currently here having to end up here moving here dumpsters to scare out the rats and the cats that are hiding behind trying to eat each other. And as they end up fleeing, Mouse seems to come at the thing, pouncing like some kind of animal themselves. There's this awkward moment where you can see Mouse is clearly feeding, and you get his attention as he kind of turns with this cat that's hanging out of his mouth. It almost looks like a mama cat hanging onto one of her own kittens if it wasn't for the fact that it's a cold dead corpse that's in his mouth. Mouse, there's something about wet fur that this is, if the blood wasn't disgusting enough, this is just wet fur.
Yeah.
You just see a face of utter disgust and disturbed by this sight.
Mouse holds up a finger and looks at Rashad. You make one fucking comment, I am not in. I had enough of that from Raven. Please do not make it a thing.
You make it so hard not to, though.
Please, just don't make it a thing. That is gonna come between us, Rashad, because I seriously hated that it was a thing for Raven. So, just don't.
I just raised both my hands. You ain't got a problem with me. I'm just gonna look the other way.
Cool. All
Mouse, there's another rat that's right there. I have no doubt that at this point you just kind of grab it.
Oh, God.
Mr. Seraph repeating to himself several times, this will not be a thing, this will not be a thing, this will not be a thing. By that point...
Do you really gotta rip into it like beef jerky?
Yes!
Okay. And Rashad just walks off back to the car.
Okay.
I clean up after myself and make sure that everything is alright, and then I follow him.
Mouse, Rashad, you enter back in the church. You start to end up going in. Rashad, the first thing that takes to note for you, though, is that the candles are out now. It's really hard to see in here. The street lights you're not getting a lot of light from the hole in the ceiling. There's not a lot of active street lamps here.
Well, they're gone now.
gonna pull out my cell phone and use the light from.
Okay. Roll. What are you looking for?
Anything of note, like maybe a book, article of clothing, something that describes who might have been here.
Okay. Roll me a resolve or wits, your choice, and investigation. Mouse, are you helping him or are you just watching Rashad stumble around in the dark?
I'm keeping an eye out for if a person comes back, because I don't need to be seen. While he's like looking at the ground, I'm keeping an eye on windows, on doors, on everything else, just to make sure that we're not disturbed.
Are you using any of your disciplines or are you just hiding as usual?
Just hiding as usual.
Okay.
I've got the hoodie all zipped up.
I'm gonna need you to roll me a dexterity plus stealth. Your specialties will not apply in this case.
Okay, because I'm indoors.
Yeah.
That's better.
That is really nice. That is really, really nice. Uh-oh. Okay, let's see here. Let me just check something real quick. Okay. Rashawn,
Yep.
there's not much to notice outside of two things. One, you still smell burning. In fact, some of the candles are still wisping, even though they've been blown out. The wax is still heavily melted. It hasn't even begun to congeal yet.
That's not a good sign. Someone, even if either they're still in here or they have a good hiding place. Because I don't think they could have left that long for it to still be hot like this. Think I'm gonna. I don't see anything in here, do I?
No, you're having a really hard time. Even with the flashlight illuminating, there's just... You look around. That's the first thing that came to mind. You can spend more time looking if you want.
Think
There's...
I'm a.
Go ahead.
Think I'm gonna start backing out.
Okay. Mouse, where exactly are you right now?
Probably along a wall.
Mouse, it's at this point you realize that there's a slight bit of a click. You look towards the door, and the door is now closed.
I am kind of against the wall.
Mm-hmm.
I reach into my bag and I pull out the 9mm that I have. And if nobody's seeing me, I'm gonna try and cloak in shadows.
Okay. Would you be able to roll me? Would you be able to roll me wits plus obfuscate, please?
Yes.
Rashad, you hear a voice. It's very quiet, very, very faint, almost a whisper. Is this another lost lamb coming to my church?
Kind of turn the light to see where the voice is coming from.
You turn on the light, and Mouse, you see Rashad. He's looking around apparently with a little bit more urgency, I imagine.
Yeah.
You don't see anything. I wonder what brings you into this place.
I whisper softly, looking for a certain individual.
Companionship. I don't often deal in whores.
More so looking for someone for a associate of mine.
Go on. You seem
Their name
unusually
was
calm.
calm. Being calm is better than being panicked.
I would agree.
Their name was Allison Crane. Would you know of them?
Oh, the sweet child. She did bleed beautifully. Truly a member of the faithful. I regret not seeing her for quite some nights. What interest is it of yours?
She is a friend of my associate, as I have said, and they have been concerned with her being missing. So I said I would look into it for them.
Well, rest assured, Miss Crane has... She has no chance of passing in any of the next few nights. She is in what you would call fasting.
Fasting.
Yes.
Interesting. If you don't mind, would you please come out of hiding? It's kind of weird talking to a disembodied voice.
And why would I do that? When I don't even know who came into my house, asking questions of my dear Mrs. Crane. Well, Miss Crane now.
You do have a good point. So, I assume I'm just supposed to tell her friend that she is off somewhere fasting.
I would say don't tell them anything. I have no interest in more poking around my little bit of a domicile. I can be quiet if I want to. but she is mine. And I hers. She's not ready to come out into the light just yet.
And you think that they won't stop looking?
Oh, they will for a few months, maybe even years. But eventually, they all stop looking. We are alone on this journey. That is the certainty. A truth brought by the mother.
Hmm. You kind of see Rashad just almost stand up a little straight. Not so. He's still alert, but more so being somewhat courteous.
Hmm.
Who is this mother? This is a interesting experience, to say the least.
Do you wish to know?
More information would be good.
Information. Yes, that's where it starts. The look for truth. But that's a price in blood, my dear sir. And one that many aren't willing to pay. So instead, they choose the safety of ignorance. Miss Crane was not among them. She chose a path and made it uniquely her own. I am so proud of the girl. But if you really wish to know, allow me a moment. For a little while. Silence in the air. And suddenly, the flicker of a light. Mr. Seraph, with a long match, you see a woman. She seems to be dressed as a nun. There is a horrific burn that disfigures the side of her face, distorts her lip as she begins to light the candles. You see her stand in the candlelight, looming over the figure carved in wood, as she begins to light them one by one. She licks her teeth, fangs revealed, as she looks at you with intent. You can see her figure is horrible. Even without blush of health, even with that gift of the blood, it might only make her even worse. She's no Nosferatu, but she is clearly disfigured.
Kind of just give eyebrows raise in her direction.
The lady, the mother. Tell me, are you caught up in your Bible history, sir?
It's
Go ahead.
been a few years since I've reread it, but as far as I know, yeah.
Before Adam had Eve, he took on a wife one that was more than his equal. Lilith. A figure of power. Strong. And cursed. I dare say she is everything that we could hope to aspire to be. She places a hand with reverence upon the shoulder of this figure. Mr. Seraph, there's something very uncomfortable when you see her do so, as her forearm is directly over one of those candles. But rather than turn away from it, you can see her skin starts to blister and burn like paper, stripping away. She pulls her hand aside. Not in, oh dear God, it hurts, but simply pulls it aside and brushes away the ash. You've come to a very interesting place, sir. Mr.
Let's just go with Rashad.
Rashad. Rashad, 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 Rashad. Why have I heard that name? Yes. Yes, you're the one. You're the one in a crumbling tower. You're the one in a bridge that has been engulfed in waters. You're the one the swan song was near scream, as her wings carry a message far, and it will come to the wrong ears. An angel upon your shoulder, Seraph the angel. Rashad, Seraph, yes, I know you. But if you're here, that means a small shadow lurks with you. Where is that small shadow of yours? Hiding in the big one, to not be seen.
Can't quite say.
Mouse, at this point, I need you to roll me a wits obfuscate.
Okie dokie.
She looks, and Mouse takes a moment when her eyes go over where you are, and then suddenly track back with a quick snap. Smiling. Then looks back to Mr. Rashad Seraph. My name is Sister Sarah, and I hold the words of Lilith. And you came for my child.
This is an interesting move. Well, Sister Sarah, it is nice to meet you.
I hope so. So, now you are aware of what happened to your friend's friend. Alas, her condition was terminal. But she went without fear. It became something so much more. That I can assure you.
Kind of just see Rashad cross his arms at that. Well, that is good to know. Seems like I don't have to look any further then.
Yes, perhaps. But that question comes to mind. You aren't supposed to be here. And I have no real business dealings with you. Your final song will be sung soon enough.
Is that so?
Yes. It has already been decided by those you trust. She smiles wide.
Kind of just see a small frown appear on my face. We'll see how my fate ends up.
Well, you will. It is no interest to me.
Very well.
I'm sorry for wasting your time, Mr. F. Rashad Seraph. He who walks with angels.
In all actuality, my time wasn't that wasted. The question was solved after all. And thank you for that.
She dips her fingers in wax, melted, and presses it up against the candle wicks, putting them out, charring her own fingers. As the light grows dim, it is out. And it takes a moment for your eyes to adjust as you see the moonlight. Well, it's the ambient street light, I should say, barely making its way through. Wisps of smoke crawl their way up to the opening. And like that, she's gone.
Very interesting people have come to Detroit. Very interesting indeed. I'm going to go and try to open up the door that was shut, I assumed?
Yep. It opens. No resistance.
I
And
finally
I
move and go
smell-
with him.
You seemed free to do so.
More questions that need to be answered.
What was all that about?
I'm not too sure, to be honest. But I do know where Well, I do know what happened to Miss Allison Crane, and I cannot say anything about it.
Huh. Okay.
Seems like Sister Sarah is part of the Camarilla.
What gives you that impression?
Very much that she talked of. Well, I can only guess would be the harpy that I ended up talking to. Could be misinterpreting that though.
Hmm.
The only thing I'm wondering about is she said I wasn't supposed to be here right now.
I mean, you were kind of in her house. That makes sense.
Yeah. Could have multiple meanings. But either way, time goes by. Let's get out of here.
Yeah.
I think that is we're going to take a short break. Mouse and Rashad have just finished leaving the domicile of Sister Sarah, a unusual kindred to be assumed. Using contacts with the Miss Yanai, who is currently resting in Mr. Seraph's bunker, shall we say. Mouse has managed to get in contact with a particular individual she's found useful. The why he needed this meeting is still eluding many involved. Mr. Seraph has ended up following Mouse, allowing him to end up exercising his own will upon the night. Mouse, you've been given an old back alley. It's a little ways out, kind of in no man's territory right now. That place that borders Deadhead territory and, well, the corpse. Most of the tunnel rats are underground or in places like this, though they wouldn't be claimed ground. Allegiances and powers when the barons were fighting full on made it very difficult to say who at any given time was holding this location. Probably makes it perfect in that regard. But you are waiting for a Nosferatu who refers to themselves as Phage. Why don't you let us in on that? What are you expecting?
Well, the question I have for Phage is what exactly is going on in the Warrens with Baron Mason. See if I can get some idea as to what Baron Mason may want right now. Because I've been disconnected from the Warrens for 2 weeks now. And I need to figure out how to correct my mistake. And aside from talking to the Baron himself, talking to someone who is a tunnel rat and connected might actually gain me some insights. So we'll see.
So I
don't know what
Go ahead.
I don't know what Phage has heard about me, so I don't know what to expect.
You find yourself in this alley, and you're trying to end up making it very clear that this is a meeting. And in order to make yourself clear, you use a tag. This tag's not exactly unknown amongst the barony. More accurately, it's to end up here depicting yourself, to end up saying that I am here. Nosferatu rarely have the sight, that gift that allows them to see one another when they don't want to be seen. It's a wonder how Nosferatu communicate, given the power of obfuscate would let them walk by one another without either one knowing that they just walked by a cousin. Yet, there are certain workarounds, ways to describe one another without actively seeing. The air still smells damp and filled with aerosol. The smell of drying paint. As you wait, Mr. Seraph waits at your side. You've been waiting for some moments. It's at this point you end up feeling something on your shoulder. You look and it hit with a bit of a thud. And you see what appears to be a small rock. Kind of look at it, and as you kind of stand back up to stare at it. Another one off the rim of your hat. You look up, and there's a very vague silhouette on the rooftop. Fire escape is easy enough.
Okay. I'm going up.
Mr. Seraph, are you joining him?
I'll follow along unless Mouse doesn't want me to follow.
Okay. Mouse, you climb up the entirety of the scaffolding. This fire escape proves really no challenge. And when you do, you see a figure that is cloaked in what appears to be several large leather coats all stitched together. The figure is absolutely huge. Gaunt. Kind of leaning over, a large hunch on its back. And a single eye in wrappings looks at you before what appears to be some kind of tendril slithers out from underneath the bandages. This figure reaches out. The fingers seem to be elongated. They hardly qualify as fingers anymore. So you, Mouse.
That's me.
Slick slime drips from between the bandages as this figure starts to move towards you, brushing aside all the rocks that overlay the rooftop. Why do you call?
I had questions for you, if you'd be willing to answer.
Many questions for you, too.
Seems like a fair enough trade.
What is he doing here?
He's my coterie mate.
Cool.
His name's Rashad.
Nice to meet you.
Corpse.
Yeah.
Yes.
Very well. What have you asked of me? What has become of Yanai?
Miss Yanai is recovering.
Recovering.
She suffered an injury and is spending time recovering right now.
Very well. It takes a step forward to you. And then another. There's no sound as it brushes these rocks aside, but you can feel it. There's a lot of weight behind those steps. So, what do you want?
I'm curious.
Killed a lot of cats.
It's true. But, do you reside in the Warrens?
Occasionally. depending on my sire's aptitude at the time.
Have you been back recently?
Recently enough to know your name.
Do you know the general atmosphere down there right now?
Enough to know I shouldn't be speaking with you.
I'd be curious to know why.
Child of gutter.
Is that the only reason?
Reason enough. You're curious. You try to meld in. But you can't. You won't.
And the fact that Gutter's my sire, everybody thinks I don't want to meld in?
Nobody wants to meld in with you. Safer to be in a coterie. Mixed clans. You don't have to bear that burden alone. So where is Juliet?
She met final death.
What?
She was killed.
Why? By whom?
I couldn't keep her safe. I couldn't.
Safety is not what anyone would expect of Gutter or his child. You both risks. Unnecessary risk.
Why does everyone dislike him so much? Gutter.
I know only a few stories, but my sire was quick to point them out. When Gutter needs to eliminate a large target, do you know what he does?
He tends to keep me out of his business.
Yes. When you... How many do you think he's embraced?
I don't know. And I don't know anything about his past, to be fair.
I don't care about fair, Mouse. Not for one moment. Wasn't fair of any of us. But we're here now, aren't we?
That's true.
Most kindred have, at most, a half dozen offspring, maybe a few more if the others didn't quite take. That's what I was told. Gutter's children can number in the potential hundreds. You think you're something special? You're just another drop in the ocean for him.
When was his last child before me? Do you know?
I do not. But I know most of his child are in the same way. Starving, desperate, crazed. They were made to do a lot of damage. Brains bashed in, buried in deep graves. Most of them never get out, so are left on an eternity to suffer in silence beneath the cold earth. And those who escape are even less fortunate. And a kindred, newly made a weapon, point them to a direction and say, the ones that did this to you, to us, are that way. When they have no experience with the beast or the hunger, what do you think happens, Mouse?
They just tear through everything.
How many more? Gutter's ways only know how to break masquerade. Gutter's ways only know to bring rot and devastation. He is a bomb waiting to go off. And if it weren't for particular ties, Mason would not have allowed him. Screw may be a son of a bitch, but he is not stupid. Gutter is foolish, and now angered, desperate, so the whispers say. And he'll do it again, now that an old friend has come back to the dance.
What old friend?
The tower. He's been at war with them longer than either of us combined. The war never stopped for him.
So what does Mason want?
What does Mason want? In what regards, Mouse?
In regards to me.
I haven't the foggiest idea. But if I were you, Mouse, I would get as far away from this city as you could. Run. Hide your name, your face. Become a cautionary tale. And wait for sunrise. Gutter won't cry over it. And I doubt any of us will either. You cost us, Ari. You cost us solidarity. You betrayed by not delivering Juliet. You have left potential masquerade breaches that led to her creation, and rumor still that she was a child of gutter made by our own enemies. Disgraced in blood. You ask, what do we want? To be rid of you. Do not start crying, Mouse. That's not the child of gutter. And you'll come.
I'm not what you expect from a child of gutter.
You're right. You're more pathetic.
Fuck you.
You don't like the answers. Maybe you should stop asking the questions. So, perhaps you're more comfortable answering. What were you doing with the Gamorrean sheriff? What would
He found me.
convenient? Leave Baron Mason waiting and enjoy an evening with the Gamorrean sheriff.
He took me.
Why? Where? You did not have a choice. There is always a choice, Mouse.
I was investigating something for Mr. Seraph here, and he found me at the scene. He can see Nosferatu.
That is the first bit of useful information you have ever said. And
You don't fucking know me.
I don't have to. You're disposable.
You make all sorts of fucking assumptions about me. You don't fucking know me.
Much like a diaper, you are disposable and full of shit.
I am not disposable.
That is where I end up standing up and moving over to Mouse. Phage, is that your name? Let me tell you. Mouse here is not disposable. He is very well needed. Because unlike you or any of the other tunnel rats I've seen, at least he has tried to get the core and everyone else to talk, while you people just sit underground waiting. He is more useful than me than any of you other Nosferatu. Do not say he is full of shit. Do not insult my code member like that. Mouse is a good person, and besides him being a child of gutter, he is very different. I don't care if any of you other tunnel rats don't like Mouse or Gutter. I do. You might not like it, but he is useful. Baron Mason might not like it, but he is useful. You do not talk down or dispose of useful people. And I'm staring Phage right in his eyes.
I think this is where we're going to do a social combat. So ultimately, what are you trying to do when it comes down to Phage? What are you trying to get across here? For him not to start to keep hammering on Mouse, for him to show you a bit of respect. What is your ultimate aim here?
Show Mouse respect. He needs to back off.
Okay.
Only he's going off of rumors, but he has not seen Mouse in action.
Okay. So I'm gonna say this is a charisma leadership versus Phage's charisma and intimidation, because he is huge and he is horrifying. And we're gonna make this best of 3. Okay.
Okay.
So first one, and ooh. So that is 5 successes versus 4. So, Rashad, you take 1 point of superficial will damage.
Okay.
Okay. He is hard to look at, and he has this look in his eye as he kind of turns back to you. It's an awfully long way down, Rashad. And there's very little stopping me from throwing you off this rooftop. And let me have a true heart-to-heart with my cousin.
You can threaten me all you like. It will not stop me from getting the point across. No one has the right to look down on others. No one.
And so you've decreed it. So
Yes,
you have
I have.
decreed it. Just like a Ventrue. You don't
I am
really
here to
care.
point out what's wrong.
You're just going to end up using Mouse up. But at least you're honest about it.
I will use Mouse to the best of his abilities, and I will protect him while he does it. He is my ally.
I'll allow a charisma, leadership, or persuasion, whichever you so choose.
I'll go with persuasion.
He's still very much browbeating you. Wow, whoa, that's another 5. Oh, shit!
That's a fucking messy crit.
That is a messy crit. Oh, okay, so, we're gonna take a look here. Okay. Rashad, when you end up speaking this, your beast kind of comes to the forefront. Despite the size difference, this Phage, this Childer, wants to speak to your coterie member like this, you won't have any of it. And as you stand, there is a force in your voice. And Mouse, you can see that Rashad's fangs, you might not be aware of it, but Rashad's fangs go full extension. And as he shouts, for a brief moment, you are convinced that Rashad's Seraph could easily consume Phage in a single bite. Phage loses by 1, so he takes 1 piece of superficial. Phage kind of takes a little bit of a step back. Maybe he's a little bit more guarded as he looks at you. And his tendrils open up, and you can see in between them there are rows of fine teeth. A toothy maw, if you will. When he does so, he looks to you. You can take responsibility for him if you want. In the end, he's just a tool to be used and discarded. Not proper Nosferatu.
You keep talking about using someone as a tool.
No, that is you. That is Gutter. We actually
We
cared.
do not look like them. We do not see them as a tool. I certainly do not. Do not put me in the group of anyone else. I am in my own.
You are small and can't even hold domain. What you are is incompetent.
You can say what you like, but I always end up proving people wrong.
And that's actually going to be a manipulation subterfuge on his part, since he's actually changed tactics. Only 3. You can end up using charisma or leadership, or pardon, charisma leadership or charisma persuasion, your choice. And actually, let me double check something, because for some odd reason something's just coming to mind right now. Okay. Yeah, go for it.
Oh wait, I also have does that add to persuasion?
You haven't declared it.
True.
Are you planning on using that power?
Yeah, I'll plan on using it.
Okay. So you activate this, and it's like Mouse. Rashad almost seems like your guardian angel right now. Despite on all the mean things you may have said to him, at the end of the day, he's the one who steps up for you.
I'm rerolling that.
You're going to need to spend a willpower?
Yeah.
Okay. It's a tie, so we'll do it again. It's not a crit. Is that a crit? No. And you see Phage as he takes a step back away from you. He is yours to do with as you so choose. My suggestion is stake him and leave him for the sun. It'd be kinder.
How fucking dare you?
You do not talk to my co-remember like that. You may do that to your so-called cousins. That is not family. Family sticks together and help each other pull through. You are lower than family. I would be ashamed to be called Nosferatu.
Now who's speaking out of their ass? Very well. I see no reason to continue this farce. as far as I am concerned. Mouse of the core barony. Do not come back down to the Warrens again. I will give Baron Mason the message that you will not be returning. With that, he takes a step back and fades from vision. Leaving only Mouse and Rashad on a lone rooftop. Mouse heartbroken. And the watchful Ventrum at his side.
I put a hand on Mouse's shoulder. Mouse, I'm sorry, but I could not let him continue talking down to you like that. They might look down because you are a child of Gutter, but you need to prove them wrong.
All I've been doing is fucking failing.
Failing is not bad. It gives you learning experience. You keep getting knocked down, you get back up. They want to see you fall. You need to defy them.
Yeah.
We will find a different way to get the baronies. But once we get the two baronies, the deadheads and the core, the tunnel rats will look like the fools for not showing up.
And he doesn't speak for Baron Mason.
He does not. He is not the Baron. Anarchs do not speak for others.
I don't know, maybe he does. I don't know. The entire time that I lived in the Warrens, we lived separately. We didn't live with the rest of them.
And that right there is the problem with the tunnel rats. They speak of family, but they're all separate. Do not let Phage stop you in your plans. You want to go and talk to Baron Mason, you do it, regardless of what he said. There will always be people against you, and you need to always fight against them. Because once you give up, they win. And I don't know about you, but I am not giving up anytime soon.
Maybe getting Fitzgerald fixed up will be proof enough. But I don't know. I don't know that will be, because every attempt that Gutter's ever made to try and fix things, if he's ever made an attempt, has gone on deaf ears, so I don't know.
Do not compare yourself to others.
Mouse, I'd like you to roll a wits plus intelligence.
Okay. I'm gonna willpower reroll.
Okay.
That's 3.
Mouse,
Uh-huh.
what did Gutter bring to your haven?
Firearms.
How many?
A lot.
What were you just told his MO was? Whenever he felt threatened, whenever he was going to war.
That he'll unleash. That's what he's good at, I guess.
How many people are gonna die if you don't do something, Mouse?
I'm not even sure what I need to do something about right now.
Gutter embraces en masse. He buries them, and in hunger and confusion, gives them weapons, and says the ones who did this to you are that way. Just as it was described to you. And you've already seen the guns.
I need to go home.
Want me to take you there? We can get there faster.
Yeah, you can drop me off like a couple of blocks down. It's fine.
All right. Sure you're gonna be all right, man?
I need to go home.
All right. And I start heading back to my car.
The drive is long. Mouse, there's a sense of urgency. You don't want this to be true.
No.
You really don't want to. You start waiting every time there's a red light. You try to be patient with Rashad driving. You drive all the way home. Rashad, you've let him out a few ways, and Mouse ducks down some alleyways. He's running. Oh dear God, he's running. His shoes sopping wet as he doesn't go around puddles. He doesn't go around anything. He just starts to run. Mouse, you get home to the butcher's shop, long abandoned. You get through the door. You start to end up going down, and you start to end up rushing down the stairs. And you see nothing but a couch. All the duffel bags of guns and weapons missing.
Gutter!
You hear nothing. And with the sinking feeling perhaps in your chest, blood running down your face, this is where we'll put an end to this session for tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll take a moment to collect ourselves. And I thank you all very much for joining us. We'll be back in a moment. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much. Sometimes when scenes get particularly heated, you need a minute. But I gotta give it applause to both Volvo and Coffee Cat for bringing their A game in that final scene. So, we're gonna do something a little different. Normally, I end up saying who had the best scene, who pushed plot progression. I don't think it's possible to end up arguing one over the other in this case. Normally, I would say then it's a roll, but I'm willing to end up giving one for each of you.
So wait,
So
how's the XP working right now?
Each of you gets one for showing up.
Sure.
Each of you gets one for progressing the plot. Each of you gets one for best scene.
Oh man.
So the only one that we're deliberating on is who had the best one line. Doesn't have to be comical. Sometimes it's a point, but I'm hoping that you guys can come up between the two of you. Who had the best
I'm gonna
line?
say Rashad because he fucking stuck up for Mouse, and it wasn't necessarily a single line, except for it's to really kind of hammer it home. Was like, nobody talks to my coterie mates like that. From Rashad, whatever exact line it was, I don't remember it off the top of my head, but yeah.
You were kind of emotional at that point, so.
Yeah, I get like that.
It's what it got you to the dance, right?
Oh my god, yeah.
So, Mr. Seraph, even the chat's agreeing that it's Mr. Seraph.
Don't ever talk down to my coterie members, yo. That's an easy way to make me mad, man.
Yeah. So you get an additional point. Now, normally, this is where we end up talking to the audience. Now, the audience has a choice here between Mouse and Rashad. So, I would like to hear, and you can do it by whatever criteria you want. You each get one vote. Type it in the chat. Who is it that you're rooting for? That individual gets bonus experience. So, would you give your vote to Mouse, or would you give it to Sarah? Give everybody a chance to kind
Everybody
of
knows that a good scene happens when your player turns into a crying mess and it and breaks down and can't talk anymore.
Fair enough. How are you guys feeling?
I love this session.
I am urgently needing to find Gutter now. Urgent. I need to stop him. If what Phage said is true, and Mouse doesn't know whether that's true or not, but if what Phage said is true, he needs to stop him.
If you need help with that, man, I'm down to try to help. Don't know how I'd help. I'd try.
Alright. Lori, I wish I could end up gaining experience, but fact of the matter is that's a different night. Wednesdays and Tuesdays,
Yes.
though that's more of milestone leveling.
Mm-hmm.
But yep, looking, Rashad is on an upswing and needs the momentum to rise. Mouse is getting torn down and needs to finish tumbling first, and it seems to be the case. So I'm still waiting for some votes to come in. Seems like everybody's kind of scared. They're not sure on who to go. Trust me, it's not taken personally, ladies
It's
and
not.
gentlemen.
It's super hard, I'm sure.
Yeah, too drunk. Extaver is, yeah. Extaver is going full neutral. Yeah.
That's fair. You do you.
We got Team Rashad.
hmm
Okay. This is a hard choice because both of you did amazing. The emotional amounts was intense, but the back of your chest. Yeah, you want to know what? I'm not gonna lie. I am proud of Volvo on that. That was
Yeah.
probably some of the most intense role playing I have ever seen out of him, and that is what I was hoping from him, is being able to bring it to that next level, and he shot
Step it
for
up.
it this time, and
Stepping up, sticking up for Mouse.
Hey,
that's amazing. That is amazing, man, and that's growth as a player, and eventually that's going to become second nature. I can guarantee it.
That's gonna be you becoming the next coffee cat.
Yeah.
I'm hoping for it. I'm shooting for it.
I'd like to have players like this at my table. Good stuff. Yusef, arguably I am very elitist when it comes down to choosing players, but there's a reason for it, because this is exactly what I feed on.
Because you get people like me.
Yeah. I got people like you. I got people like Volvo. I got people like Rose. Yeah. Matt and Maddie's got it right. So, Rashad, respect for him for sticking up. Rashad, looks like you're earning that bonus experience tonight. So, Rashad, you get an extra 2 experience for audience vote, and Mouse, I can't deny what you did, and there's so many people who are doing Switzerland on you right now, so I'm willing to give you 1 extra on it. This is a big XP night tonight, because that was just amazing. And I reward really good role playing.
Oh man.
So.
Oh man.
Yeah, if Rashad hadn't stepped up, it'd have been a disservice to his entire clan, and I have to agree, Yusef, but you want to know what? Just speaking on an out-of-character level, Volvo stepped up to play Ventrue. He knows I'm a fan of Ventrue, but he also knows I hold Ventrue to a high standard when it comes down to role-playing, much to emulate the clan. Mm-hmm. And, sometimes he fumbles it, sometimes he stumbles with it. But tonight, there is no one. I don't think there's anyone who's watched this VOD, anyone who's watched this broadcast, who will not point to Volvo's performance as Mr. Rashad Seraph tonight and say, that is a fucking Ventrue. I don't think anybody could say otherwise.
My heart.
Oh man.
So, let's get to the fun part. Spending experience.
I have spending experience.
Yeah.
I have 10 experience to spend.
You have 10 experience to spend? Ooh, we're getting a big
it's
upgrade.
A toss-up. I think it's a toss-up between Animalism 2 and Potence 2.
Well, here's a question for you, right?
I kind of see him taking Bond Familius, though.
I kind of see that too. Yeah. But then it's also arguing that, if you are in fact Gutter's child, I would heavily suspect Potence would be in your future.
Yeah.
The violence follows the blood.
Mm-hmm.
So you can go either way, and that's just on disciplines.
Yeah.
Right. But,
mm-hmm.
Mouse, I leave it to you, in your choice.
I think he's actively trying not to be Gutter at this point.
Careful trying to avoid the beast. Mm-hmm. Sometimes a beast I am, lest a beast I become.
Yeah.
I have a bunch of experience.
Rashad, Big boss
Rashad
man.
hasn't been. Oh man.
I'm almost tempted to get a second Dotton present.
Why not? It's up to you. On the other hand, you've been one of the most physically or one of the most resilient individuals going. I would also agree that fortitude would also be there.
I think
If there's been one thing that has defined Mr. Seraph, is he has been taking hits one way or another, and he just keeps going. So I would say the argument could be made for both.
No, you know what? He's gonna take prowess with potence too, because if he's gonna have to stop Gutter for some reason, then he needs to be able to call on it.
Yeah.
I think I'll go with
Prowess.
second Dotton fortitude.
All right. So we got one prowess. What are you picking for your second dot in fortitude? Because right now I know you physically of mind. You're very hard to dominate. You're very hard to get in on somebody like that.
Just in case someone does try to throw me off a roof, I think I'm gonna prepare for that.
Because you can take toughness right now, and you can subtract your fortitude from for all superficial damage sustained. So.
Oh, you turn into like a brick wall.
Yeah. So anytime somebody does superficial damage to him before it's halved, he actually reduces it by his fortitude to a minimum
That's
of
before
1.
halved?
Yeah.
Okay.
Still, that, like I said,
that reduces 4 damage down to 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna take that.
Yeah. It's up to you. But like I said, those Ventrue are hardy. All right, everybody. Well, so here's what's gonna happen. For those of you who aren't familiar, after we do Detroit by Night, the episode, the Motor City broke down, we usually have like a 10-minute to half-hour break where I just go off stream, I order myself something to eat, and then we're going to come back with the Vampire the Masquerade workshop, where we kind of discuss what we've applied either during the game or a particular thing I've been thinking about through the week. I haven't eaten anything today. I may be fat, but I am wasting away right now. So, and dear God, I need comfort food right now. So I'm gonna order some pie. And I will say at 11:15. So in 25 minutes, I'm gonna go live. So for those of you who haven't, but you've enjoyed what you've seen, hit that follow button. Oh wow, I'm just kind of catching up. So we got a new follower, Dan Upsan. Dan, thank you very much for the follow. I appreciate it. And Lori, oh wow, thank you. A donation of $5. Thank you. That's humbling. That's very humbling. How about this instead of a vote on you, Derek? I appreciate that, Lori. I keep notifications off during the broadcast because I really do want the focus to be on the players and their performance and the game itself. But we're going to be right back. Thank you very much for, apparently into paying for pizza tonight. Yeah, Lori, first slice on you. Thank you very much. And I will see you all in, let's say, 25 minutes. So I don't think that there's anything else I need to go over right now. So, I think it's time to say goodnight, everybody.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.